Hey, Seth from Silver Soul Gaming, finally here with my kind of sort of review of Days Gone. A game that it is unfinished, as I had thought, just to come straight out with that. It definitely is unfinished. It has lots of polishing, it's very rough around the edges. Some cutscenes are animated very poorly, and it really frustrates me. I unfortunately forgot to record a lot of footage, so the background will be a trailer or gameplay footage from E3. But the game itself, it is very rough around the edges. It feels unfinished, like I thought it did. I saw that, from what I saw in the Game Informer look on the game, back then I thought, this game does not look ready that it's going to be shipped in less than a year. And it wasn't. Now, it's been patched nearly every day since it's been out. And I've definitely noticed a somewhat better increase in the optimization of the game, but I still get massive frame drops on just a regular PlayStation 4. Something that is fucking ridiculous to me, something you should never get in 2019 on a AAA game that is a Sony exclusive. And the game has to load far too much. And when it loads for a long time. And it loads a lot. And again, something we know that games these days, if well optimized, don't need to do. That's something that has really pissed me off and says to me the game is not finished. I'm not a fan of the shooting in this game. I'm not a fan of the side activities in this game. Not really a fan of the freakers or the zombies. To be honest, they're just kind of there. They don't really do anything. It's like every other zombie kind of movie or game. The zombies are there as a plot device. They do nothing else but move the plot forward. It's all about the humans versus the humans. And I think the game would actually be better if it didn't have its whole selling point on the zombies. I think a post-apocalyptic game in this style would have been good enough for me. Personally, I think that would have been better, and I think it could have been a lot more better in the story department. However, I will say, I still think the story in the game is pretty solid. It's not great, it's rough around the edges, but it's clearly setting up a lot more in the future, which I'm actually kind of looking forward to. Not gonna lie, I still found myself having a very fun time during this game. The combat, like I said, I'm not a big fan of it. It's fine, but it's rough around. It'll be better at the next game around. I'm sure there'll be a Days Gone 2. But like I said, the story itself is fine. It has a few plot things that it hints at, but it just drops plot elements randomly. Like it just drops them. Like there's suggestions, there's some foreshadowing, and they just drop them. They don't even bother, and it really confused me. Like there was a love interest, I won't name who, and there seems to be a connection. There's a whole moment, and that's it. We get that moment, and then nothing after that. Like something like that, and then they just drop it, and it's never spoken about, never referred to. Nothing is ever talked about it again, and it's used for something else later in the game, that cutscene, but something that I would have thought had nothing to do with the point of that cutscene that was in the game. But my biggest issue with this game is that it tries to be multiple games at once. It has this weird thing where it wants to be an Uncharted, Last of Us kind of game, but it doesn't. It's strange. Like, I got very Last of Us vibes, and at the same time it just kind of felt like a bootleg Last of Us. I don't know what it was. It kind of annoys me, but it took these camp elements that they've got in Far Cry. It took like this weird Last of Us story, but instead of having a kid, there's another character in the game that's kind of your secondary partner. it kind of takes on a different role rather than being a surrogate father, I suppose. Again, I don't know. It felt like it was trying to be all of these other AAA games rolled into one, but all of them, if they weren't executed as good as they were, which is what you get when you kind of roll them all into one game, which is why they all work differently with their own things in different games. Like I said, it's got this weird thing where it has the bike, which is like a character of itself, which is something we already saw in Red Dead 2. The third person shooting feels so much like a Last of Us game, just like a Naughty Dog game, but unpolished and rough around the edges. The bike was good, I will say that. I did like the bike in the game, but there's this whole thing about fuel, and the fuel doesn't matter, really, because as soon as you find fuel, it's unlimited, and you're fine. You can just fill your bike up back to 100%, fast travel, do whatever, kill a few zombies, and then you can buy fuel back at a camp, stuff like that. Again, another thing I didn't like in this game was the camp systems. I didn't think they were great. I think they were more complicated than they needed to be. Because you have this whole thing where it's trust, which unlocks things for you to buy, which I think is a good idea. But then it's also got credits, and then if you build up like 30,000 credits, I think I had at one stage, but I only had level 2 trust, and I had no missions to do, and I couldn't find any other side missions, like take out a horde, which also builds up trust, this, that, and the other. But I couldn't find anything to do, which was frustrating. Which is why I think they either need to get rid of the credits, or just the trust, or just bring in credits altogether. Which I think they should have just made credits a thing just for the camp, and I don't really think we needed trust. Or we could have had it so that things unlocked as you did more side missions for the camp, which I think would have been better. But I'm excited to see what's coming in the next Days Gone. But it's funny, it's very unpolished, but I still found myself having a lot of fun in this game. It's a fun game. It's a fun action-adventure game. It's very slow at the start. You are going to find yourself trying, you're going to have to struggle for the first couple hours of the game, not going to lie. It was, because I found myself growing more and more in the game, and it's something I've seen other reviewers, my friends, and myself have done, where we've all gone from didn't like it to actually really had a fun time, because you go from being a shitty, I don't know if it's because you're weak at the start and everything is just hard and it's just not fun, and then you go to the middle bit where you're actually, you got the better guns, the better bike, you've upgraded your character enough, you've upgraded Deacon so that you can actually take on more than 2 zombies and a small handful of humans. I don't know, I just still found the game to be fun. The story actually gets better as well as the game goes on, because I really wasn't interested at the start. I thought it was very boring, didn't seem interesting, and by the halfway point of this game, hell, about a quarter, halfway point, I was very invested for some reason in the main storyline. Not so much in the side stories, except for maybe 2 or 3, which really are more connected to the main story anyway, were the more interesting ones. But I will say, it was just a fun time. It's a fun game. I'd recommend picking it up if you've got $60 to spare. It's a fun time. It's a bit of a struggle at the start, but once you get through those first couple of hours, you're going to find yourself having a blast for the next 50 to 40 hours in the game. Something I definitely found myself doing, and I know many others as well have had the same experience. But yeah, look, overall, it's a fun game. I definitely just recommend picking it up. It's a Sony exclusive. I knew it wasn't going to be terrible. I didn't think it was going to be great compared to something like God of War, but different developers, it's the first game in the series. It's clearly laying out groundwork for a further few sequels, maybe even some spin-off games, I think. I don't know about that. But there's definitely a lot there in the world that's left to be developed. They definitely leave it on a big cliffhanger in a second ending that they kind of have to the game. But yeah, look, that's pretty much all I've got to say. The game is unpolished, unfinished. It's being patched and it's being fixed. It's very unoptimized, but fuck it. It's just a fun game. It's funny how that just works, but it was just a fun game. It's on the level of Spider-Man fun, like the recent game that came out. It's on the level of that fun, just not that quality. I don't think is quite there, but I think it's just because, you know, it's a new game, it's a new series, it's got the new engine, it's everything in it is new, so I didn't expect it to be perfect. But look, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys hopefully soon for my Mortal Kombat 11 review. That should be out sometime this week. I finished that game a while. I'm just trying to get it all together in my head. But yeah, that'll be out sometime this week, hopefully, and I'll see you guys next week for a discussion minute, and hopefully sometime this week for Mortal Kombat 11. Make sure you go check out our Twitter, our website, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give us a like on the video. Go check out our Twitch. There's Twitch streams a lot there. They're very active. We are very active on Twitch, so definitely recommend go checking it out. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon for another video.